And at that time, when I stopped working in corporate America and I had to reflect and say, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing full time to support me and my family, it took on a more serious note. And so
Mm-hmm.
doing one-off designs, charging, $100 for a business card was not going to sustain a household where we had real bills in here.
Hello and welcome to the Money Mindset Show, the place where we help female entrepreneurs to transform their mind so that they can achieve financial success in the least amount of time. Here, we talk about subconscious mind, we talk about money mindset shifts, money mindset blocks, a strategy so that you can bypass your own money mindset and increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. Welcome, Toni, to the Money Mindset Show. It's our pleasure to have you here. Please introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And why you do it?
Well, I'm excited to be here talking about money mindset today in relation to my business and what I do and just what I think. So, like you said, my name is Toni Brown and I am a brand strategist and designer. And I mainly work with women of color to help them to build their personal brand and their personal brand message so that they can gain visibility, clients, and so that their message can reach the audience that they want to impact. Why I do what I do is layered. I started in business over a decade ago. And when I started, I was a graphic designer and web designer, and I still do those things. But I mainly focused on web and graphic design and those flyers, business cards, those type of one-off designs. It was some
Mm-hmm.
years later that I realized that those type of things were just band-aids for the bigger problem. And the bigger problem being clarity and visibility. And so I started to research and learn about brand strategy and integrated that into how I work with clients. And I added a messaging component to that. When I had my own life changed, my business kind of shifted again. And I realized that personal branding is where the entrepreneurial landscape was moving because in my world, that's where I was moving. So I was coming from behind my business as a graphic and web designer and realized that people work with me, yes, for my portfolio, but really for who I was, my personality, what I talked about, how I could relate to them. And I realized that my life didn't revolve around my business. So there were other aspects of what I do on a normal basis, like traveling, taking care of my plants, juicing, trying to be healthy, that were important to me. And it added to me building my business and just being a well rounded entrepreneur. During that decade, of course, I got 10 plus years older. I started to see women in my same space with the same pivot that I was going through. They were leaving corporate America or thinking about leaving corporate America. They
Right.
are not all of them, but kind of 40 and over because that's what I am. And they were in that space where they were finished raising children, and they wanted to focus on themselves. And they were still either working in corporate America or they had some type of business established and they just wanted to it's like they wanted to break out,
Right.
and personal branding allowed them to break out.
I'm curious to know, how did you break out from this whole thing? How did you manage to brand yourself, to come through your voice, to say, this is what I'm going to do? Yeah. To put yourself as the leader in this branding position.
I guess because I was hiding in my real life. So that manifested itself with me being behind my business. So once my personal life changed and I realized that, oh, I'm a real person. I can actually be myself and not be identified as a mother, as a wife, as a
Mhm.
sister, as a daughter, things like that. Of course, I'm still those things, minus the wife part. I realized that at the core of it, it's just Toni. It's just
Right.
me. And that is what leads people to work with me being me, not just about my founder story or me being a mom or me, suffering loss while building my business. not just those individual topics, but all of that encompassed who I was. And I just had so much more to say. I didn't want to be, like a mysterious designer that all you saw was their designs, because that's what I started out doing because I wanted to be taken more seriously. But I think I just got tired of hiding my voice, my story, the facets that compose who I am. I just got tired of hiding.
Yeah, yeah. And this is something that I hear so often with my clients, with the people that has gone through this series, is that like hiding, like it's like I am in the back of something and really stepping into, this is who I am. This is my story. I'm here to tell it. Is really the connection of all of these amazing stories that we have heard. So I love that also, because what I say is like your financial growth is found in the hidden stories that you have been long ago to not tell them. Like that is where you find it. In that story that you are repressing, in that story that you are trying to forget, that is where you find your financial growth. So I love that you mentioned that point, because it really is everything, like the way I see it, for financial growth as a BIPOC founder. Let's jump into those 10 years of career with all of the transition that you have done. And talk to me about some of the challenges that you had to face. Yeah, just to be a Black female founder.
Yeah. When I started my business, I was working full time. So I had the support of a paycheck to actually fuel my business. So I never thought about money problems, because if I didn't get a client for the month, then I still had my
That
corporate
was
job
okay.
and they
Yeah.
paid regularly. So once I stopped working in corporate America, this whole issue of, oh, I do need money and I do need clients because I don't have a backbone or something to support that.
Right.
So thinking about that, it really put me into kind of a fearful mode where I didn't want to spend any money
Yeah.
on my business. I didn't want to spend any money on my business unless it was something directly linked to me getting a client. And I
Yeah.
don't mean months later, I mean now.
Nah.
That changed after I left corporate America, when I moved to a different town. Because when I realized that this is all that I had so far as making money is concerned, I needed to invest in systems and things so that I could make more money. And whereas before, it was all about the passion and me doing business cards, and I work on my business at work and I'm doing their work. And it was, I'm not going to say it was fun in games in the beginning,
Yeah.
but I took myself seriously in what I was trying to learn and the passion for design. But the money aspect of it was kind of secondary because I already had a job. So I
Right.
didn't really care. But now, and at that time, when I stopped working in corporate America and I had to reflect and say, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing full time to support me and my family, it took on a more serious note. And so doing one-off designs, charging, $100 for a business card was not going to sustain a household where we had real bills in here.
Right.
So that's when I started investing in myself and in programs to help me to build my business knowledge, because the skills were there. The skills
Yeah.
are intuitive, it's inherent. Of course, I had to learn how to use different softwares to be able to hone my creativity, but it's the business sharpness and marketing sharpness that I didn't have that I needed to pay for. And that is when my mindset around that started to change.
Yeah. How do you see the difference between back then and now approaching a new client? Because this is what I don't think many people realize, that this is your internal dialogue, but your clients pick up on that too. Your clients can, like, the way that you treat your clients is different if you are thinking this is my business and this is the structure and this is everything that I'm doing, or like I'm just trying out, like this is like I want this to be a business, but I'm not quite convinced.
Yeah, so I'm definitely convinced that what I do now is a business, and it's been that way for years. How I approach my clients, or when we get on those calls, I help them to see that when you're building your brand or your business, don't look at where you are, look at where you want to be. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's how I design for my clients. I don't design, now they, for example, now they could be working in corporate America, so they might not see themselves as a speaker yet. Well, if you're coming to me and you want to build your personal brand and being a speaker is one of your goals, then we're going to position your messaging, your photos, your video, whatever you have to support that goal of speaking. And
Mm-hmm.
so I approach projects with looking at the future of my clients and to create something that their audience can see them as, even if internally or even externally a little bit, they haven't really pushed themselves out.
Right.
I approach them in a way to where we're packaging them as a personal brand to give them the confidence to embody where they want to be. And you can't do that when you're just creating one-off types of things. Or if somebody
Yeah.
says, I just want a new website. I actually had that conversation yesterday. And she wanted a new website. And when I looked at the things she had, I said, she really needs more than a new website.
Mm-hmm.
But I entertained the conversation, and I knew at the end of the day that we weren't going to work together because she only saw what she needed as temporary fixes, as
Right.
quick fixes, not as instead of, you break a bone, you set the bone. She was looking at you break a bone, you put a band-aid on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not how I see personal branding. That's not how I approach clients.
On this Black Business Owned Month, we are highlighting the story of amazing Black female entrepreneurs, business owners that are putting their services, their product, their innovations out there because Black women and people of color need more platforms to share the amazing creations that we all are doing. That's why throughout this month, you're going to hear the stories that Black female entrepreneurs building things that I couldn't even imagine it was possible. And here's how you can support all of these female entrepreneurs. Make sure that for each episode that you listen to, you share with somebody else. You share with that friend, that colleague, that person that you think it may be at interest of. And this is the most important part. We really appreciate that you go and rate and review this podcast. The more reviews and the more rating that we have, the bigger impact we can make. More people is going to know about this podcast. More people is going to hear about this female founder. I love it. I love it because you see the sharpness. I always say you hold like our work in this side as a coach, as a mentor, as an expert is not for you to see it just yet. The vision is to trust us that we see it for you. And it's just like that changes everything. And I always tell my clients, listen, I know that you may not see it right now, but imagine that I'm here next to you and I'm seeing it for you. Just trust me that I'm seeing it for you. And then what happens is that at the end of the term, they say like, now I really see it with you. I say, yeah,
Yes.
I know, right? I know that I have it and you're coming to me for a reason. But for me, it's fun to have that vision and to be able to see how this person grows, how it transforms, how it changes. And I can only imagine on the creative side of things, because mine is a very numbers and type of real things, because what I'm dealing is money anxiety, money stress, financial growth, right? But when you get into the creative, I can, what is your satisfaction? Like, think about a client that you have transformed and what do you feel about that? It's so amazing, isn't it?
It is. And I'm actually getting chills, and not too many things chill me. I'm a very like laid back and grounded person. So I'm not a person that gets excited like openly about things. It's kind of like an internal joy and peace. But working with the client from brand strategy and messaging all the way to website design and seeing how each one of those components of visual identity and creative direction with their photo shoot and their video shoot, how all you put all those things together and put it on the website, before I work on a website, when we've done strategy, messaging, identity, and creative direction, my hands always get sweaty. They literally get sweaty because I'm like, now I have all of the assets that I need. These are assets that we created together. I write the strategy myself. I write messaging myself. We collaborate on identity. We collaborate on the creative content day. But that website, there is a collaboration because we've prepared for it. But I'm the only person on my computer typing, coding, designing, and it's like, oh, the force is with me now. It's totally up to me to put all these things together. So when the homepage is the most difficult page to create because that's the one that people are going to see first and it has to pull the person in. That takes me the longest. But when I see it and it's everything that I already knew that it was going to be, it gives me chills. It also gives me chills that on that creative content day, when I'm looking, when the photographer is taking the photos and he lets me see some of the photos. Sometimes he's such a creative genius that I don't ever have to question what he does. But he lets me look at the lens sometimes and I'm like, oh, you look so good, girl. You look good. It's just saying that she didn't just show up to set with a suit on or sitting in front of a computer, just typing, pretending to work. We're creating real stories for real women that fit their real experience of what it looks like to really work with them. When I see that, it's like, okay, Toni, you can keep going. You got this. You know how to position powerful women with personal branding.
Yeah.
Don't question it.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Again, like, you know how to do it. Toni, please let everybody know where they can continue this conversation, where they can check their messages, where if they are curious, and I'm sure they will, because I know so many of you that always come with the question, should I work in my branding or should I work in my messaging first? And my answer, I'm like, if you're a VIP of mine, we talk about marketing and stuff because that's part of your financial growth. But you have to come with a message and you have to come with a brand, right? So please let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me at Brand Coach Toni everywhere. So brandcoachtoni.com is my website. On Instagram, it's at Brand Coach Toni. On LinkedIn, it's my name. So it's Toni Sam Brown. And that's where I live and online in those spaces.
Love. Okay. And I'm going to link, if you don't remember any of that, I'm going to link it all in the show notes. So just scroll down this episode and you're going to find it there. And thank you so much, Toni, for being here and being part of this series.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And if I can share one little tip about money when it comes to building your brand, and it's something that my mother used to say, so it's deeply rooted in childhood. She used to say a couple of things. She used to say it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
And that if you want something done right, hire somebody else to do it. Those are the two things that stick in my head when I think about making financial decisions for my business. And I really encourage that with women entrepreneurs.
I love it. I love it. And that's good to say that beliefs are powerful. Whatever you believe in, it's what it's going to drive your financial behavior. So thank you. Okay. But before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com.